He told me that I can't use the Navajo language. So you used to get punished for it, Even if you use one word, they cut you 2 times, then you use yellow soap, chew it on it. I've done that too, they give me that punishment. So within the school, going learning things, that was all right. But the punishment was pretty tough, especially chewing the yellow.
First time I saw missionaries, they came up to our door. They offered candy, oranges, fruits, even some clothing. Maybe they were darkest type of clothing, like Goodwill type of clothing. But it was appreciated though. So that's how we liked them for that, and that's their way of getting close to you. Now I realize, but one of their main emphasis was their belief system, their religion, which is called Christianity. And I didn't realize that at the time, but they always had these pamphlets or booklets that they hand out, and over time and time again, on this booklet you always see this Satan or whoever he is, they would have a cloth and just have the eyes and be all black and would have this dagger, and says this is where hell is. Because if you keep believing, doing the ceremonies and believing who you are, believing your religion, this is where you're going. You're gonna die one of these days. Because look at the fire here that's showing that's where you're gonna be. Your mom, dad, your grandfather, what they're doing is wrong. They're gonna die too. I was so afraid. I actually believed that. Well, I was a young child then too, so I had nightmares because of that, and I don't know. I think I had terrible nightmares, and it stayed with me for a long time, years. I don't know how much effect that would have had, worrying about my mom, My gosh, after we all die, my mom's going to suffer forever. That was one of the biggest discrimination that did exist on the Indian country. For people to imply that your religion is wrong, I think that's one of the biggest discrimination that ever did exist. Nobody talks about that. Nobody wants to acknowledge that, but it did happen. Not only me, I'm sure the other people out there.
When the older people got hurt, like taking their livestock away from them, and then they went to jail for it, and there's a lot of people passed on. They died from that hurt. They hurt their heart and their mind.
Yeah, one of the things that colonization does to us is that we lose the ability to take care of our own spiritual practice, our own needs. And to illustrate this story, I tell the story of Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, when he went to Africa. And he asked one of the spiritual leaders in one of the villages if he dreamed. And the spiritual leader looked at him and he says, no, we don't have to do that anymore. The English dream for us. And it's a real profound statement as to how this colonization process works, to where even the dreams go away because we don't believe it anymore. We're so brainwashed to thinking that this stuff is weird, that it's not right, that we even forget how to do that. And it's a real critical part of our life, the dream.
My name is Juanita Denny. I come from the Red House clan and born for the Salt clan. I live in Mixconac, Utah. I was born in Bluff, Utah. And most of my upbringing was down in a little place called Baby Rocks, which is just east of Kayenta. I come from a family of 2 younger brothers, 4 older sisters, and all of us are from my mom. Of my father's kids, we have there's 12 of us. There's not really a whole lot of good times that I can remember. It's funny how it seems as though a lot of the negative times seem to come to surface so much easier and more often than the good times because of my father's I guess because of my father's way of parenting. And I remember him not having much patience with us. He expected a lot of perfectionists from us. We got a lot of our efforts being put down. We were almost kept from talking. He was not the kind of father we could go to discuss things with. Someone was always better than us. We were always being compared to someone else's kids or his stepkids. And I guess that just took away from me the willingness to really succeed in anything. That left me with the idea in mind that I really will never be anything, because what was put into me for at least 35 years of my life, it was wrong. So much wrong.
We're here at in the very center, I guess, of Canyon de Chelly, doing this talk with a lot of my young relatives, and talking about some of the things that happen here and how they have affected a lot of generations of Indian people all over the hemisphere. Because what happens in places like this affects not just Indian people, but human beings all over the planet. And we're here in the heart of the canyon, where a lot of the wounding happened to our relatives, bringing back some of that balance with some of the young people, because the young people are sacred, you know, they're innocent, and so they bring their sacred beings here, and in that way they're blessing all of us. And I wanted to say a little bit about my early work and working with Indian people and some of the problems that afflict the community. I started asking some of the elders what was going on, and one of the things that they would come up with is something they would call the soul wound.